Hello, this is U140550. Sorry, I literally just ate something earlier. Alright, so we're going to go back into the do's and don'ts of college and / university and the tips. So this is part, I forget, 7? But there's many more that I'm going to be making. It just, I have to remember a lot of different things and kind of remember what I want to say. But here is another one. Remember how I said adaptation, right? That you'll get accommodations if you have a disability or if you have certain benefits for certain programs where you will get certain things. Well, another part of adaptation is also finding ways to study. There is many ways to study. And I can, of course, explain it to you guys at some point, very, very, very soon, as far as like different ways to study. But that's one way of adaptation. But the other way is that there's sometimes different places you need to study. Some people think, okay, so after I'm done with class, I'm going to study at home. Maybe even if it is your dorm, maybe at home. That works for some people, but not for everybody. There's times where sometimes, even though you know that you can work well at home, sometimes your brain does not really work that great for that time to actually, study. Sometimes you need a more louder environment, maybe not too loud, but in this kind of medium, low to medium type of sound where for most people it makes your brain think and it makes you, learn your stuff, but at the same time, because you have the noise and everything else, it's kind of like the disturbance. It's like a general disturbance because, then you can kind of get your brain to think. It's the same type of understanding when it comes to as an example, for some people that I know that are friends of mine that are autistic, they will sometimes, because their brain can't focus on the task at hand, they will, they'll play with something flimsy or something random just so they can be entertained. Another way they sometimes can do that is sometimes a dissident sound or a sound that you're going to make dissonance, but you can still somewhat hear it while you're doing your work. It sometimes helps you because then all you have to do is concentrate on the music, and the music helps you as you're going along with your essay, your homework, your different types of exams that you're studying for. Sometimes you need that type of environment. Sometimes you need an environment just away from home, really. That's where I tend to go sometimes. Of course, I'm not autistic, but, for everybody, there's different ways to study. Sometimes I have to go to Starbucks in order for myself to study, because sometimes it's kind of hard to do at home because there's always disruptions at home, or sometimes there's always problems, or things can sometimes happen depending on your situation. So it's pretty hard sometimes to work at home. So sometimes you have to find a different place. Sometimes I will find places that might seem like a place that to you at first might not seem like the best place to study, but it works for almost everybody. For instance, just near my area, I have the local park. Sometimes I study on there, especially if it's a computer type thing. If I don't need to bring my computer, but I need to bring, let's say, my phone, I can use my phone as a way to do my work. If it works well with my phone, I sometimes do that. Just listen to the scenery, look at the scenery, just kind of having that calming type of time. It also helps you mentally because it's almost kind of like that way to release stress. When you're stressed out, especially like me and every other college student that is stressed out, sometimes you have so much work on your butt or on your hands that it's so hard to get everything done because it's too much sometimes. But because you're able to concentrate and you're able to understand, a lot of different things, and you're able to have a stress-free or somewhat less stressful place to work in, your brain works much more efficiently that way too. Also, it's a way for your brain to concentrate generally on what you're doing. So that definitely works out sometimes for me. And working at a 24-hour Starbucks, like I've already explained. Some of you guys that have my Insta or have seen on my Insta know what I'm talking about. And then also sometimes I like to work in silence. Nobody speaking, nobody saying anything, just silence. And the only thing I have that's playing usually is music. And I just go with whatever the heck I'm doing. I just click and type and do what I have to do. I type pretty fast usually. Sometimes I'll type as fast as I can. Sometimes I'll type not so great, but it depends. Which also reminds me, speaking of adaptation, having a good skill to type in class, if you are not that best with writing notes, or it's easier for you to understand certain things by typing your notes. If your class, depending on the professor, sometimes there is some professors that will not let you use your technology, but for the most part, because you're an adult, they will. But yeah, using your technology to type out your different types of notes. For instance, for one of my classes I'm taking right now, for one of the first exams we had 17, 18, 19 pages of notes. And then, you add in even more if you were reading the book. Closely, that is, if you're reading the book closely and typing out some of the little definitions and all that jazz. So that is another way that some people are studying. So sometimes they'll have a little bit more. I had about 17 pages of notes. Other people I know, they had like 20, 30 pages of notes. So that is one thing that is very, very big, is that many amount of notes just for one exam. And usually that exam is like, 50, 60 questions. My last exam I had recently was about 63. Yeah, 63 questions. So the last one that we're going to have might be 100, depending on how far we get to it. In fact, on Wednesday, before Thursday, because I have a benefit and beneficial thing that I can do, where I can take it a day before the actual exam, actual quiz or exam. I'm taking a quiz a day earlier, and that usually entails about 30, 40 questions. What is the what is the fast twitch muscles? What is the slow twitch muscles? What is the digestion tract? How does the digestion tract work? How does your swallowing part of your system work? Do you take it through the mouth, then you chew and swallow? Then it goes down to the esophagus, then it goes down through the throat. And, then you notice and you remember, if you were from lecture or learning about it, you probably remember that the epiglottis closes the trachea so it doesn't go into the trachea. That's the reason why sometimes you cough when you chew your food too quickly and you swallow. It's because your epiglottis did not close all the way, according to the way my professor explained it. And I kind of already understood this, but I understood it even more with the way she was explaining it. And then it will go down your throat, down to your stomach. And if I'm not mistaken, then it would go down to your intestine, your different parts of your intestine, then down to your other functions, and then out let's not get too specific, but let's just say they come out somewhere, okay? But yeah, just that general understanding of like the tract and how that works. Also knowing how your blood pumps all of that blood all the way to your head and your body and then comes back up. It's and understanding how that works. And then understanding about the endocrine system, the different types of systems that work in your body, the way your brain processes different information, the way that your body is able to move through the function of ATP, and a whole bunch of different things. But I'm able to understand that because I listen very intensely on lecture and I type as much as I can. And also I have other ways that I study that helps me understand the class. But that is very much hard for some people to do. But anyways, that's what I'm trying to say is like it helps you understand what you're learning. It helps you understand what you need to do. So basically what I'm generally trying to tell you is that as a college student, you kind of have to understand there's times where you're going to have to find different places to study, because not every place that you want to study in is going to be the best studying area at that time. It also depends on the person's mood, depends on how their brain is functioning at the time, which usually most of the time you are the one that knows how your body feels. And also sometimes it's just hard to study sometimes. Sometimes you need a break. You know, I sometimes look at some of my friends and they don't take any breaks for their studying, but sometimes in order for your brain to really function, sometimes you need to take a break. But of course, know how to manage your time to take a break too. Don't be one of those people that goes, yeah, I'm gonna take a break, ends up not taking the best amount of time to take a break, and then decides, okay, well, I'm gonna take a break, and that break, instead of it being, let's say, let's give a good example. You're about to start your exam starts at, let's say, 12, and you came here at 7. You studied from 7 to 10, okay? Then you said you're gonna take a break. Most people will take about a 30 to an hour break. And instead, this is what that friend did instead. He took an hour and a half of a break and only had 30 minutes to study before he ran to his class. Because sometimes, even though it's supposed to start at 12, the professor started a little bit later, like 10 minutes after 12. But still, that is what you would call cramming. Cramming a lot of different information into your brain in a short amount of time. And that kind of works for some people. That's the reason why some Asian schools, some Asian countries have a thing called cram school, where you, so you don't forget any of the information you were taught last year, you cram so that you stay and keep all of that stuff in your brain, and at the same time am able to learn even more before the school starts. That's usually what most people would call a cram school. But anyways, I'm kind of getting a little off topic, but oh man, my neck. Ugh. But yeah, that's definitely something that you have to understand, is that you also need to know how to manage your time of a break. Sometimes if you have a friend with you that is hanging out with you, let's say at the 24-hour Starbucks, sometimes you guys can both agree to a time that you guys will have a break. Let's say, you know, you guys have a lot of time. You're at a 24-hour Starbucks. You don't have to be so specific. But you said, okay, you know what? Let's take a break. We're going to watch this show. We're going to watch this anime. We're going to watch this thing for the whole entire episode. And once that episode is over, let's go back to work. Or after 2 episodes, let's go back to work. This is actually similar to what I just did recently for that one video that I just made recently about 13 Reasons Why. Which again, like I said before, I am not responsible for anything you guys will do that how did I say in my video? I totally had it earlier. Let me go to my channel really quickly. Sorry guys, this is happening in the timing that should not be randomly be happening at the moment. But how did I say it? Or did I say it in the... Maybe I said it in the actual video. Yeah, I said it in the actual video, and I think I remember putting it in here. Which was... Yeah, I said no. Viewer discretion advised. If you're not mature enough to handle the content matter of this show, or the conversation said here in the video, aka video I had last time, that I made for you guys. If you're not, content matter of this show, or the video, or the conversation said here, then please do not watch this show until you are ready, comma, I am not responsible for anything you do from the subject matter talked in this video/show. So that's kind of how I said that. But basically, yeah, that's kind of part of that video. But in a general sense, that's kind of how I was when it came to not only making this video, but also just to say, you know, that's what I was watching with my friend one time, which was, I think, yesterday or the day before. We were watching that show a little bit, and then after that, I did some homework. You know, 1 or 2 episodes. Okay, after these 2 episodes or 3 episodes, let's get back to work. That is a good way to manage your time, so you know how long the episodes are, you know how long you're going to be watching that, and then taking that time to say, okay, that's our cutoff, let's go back to work. So knowing when to change different areas is one of the best things to always do. For instance, at my community college, and probably will happen when I go to my university, is that, you know, one of the best places to do is go to a lounge. If your school has a lounge, go to a little seating area in your school, or go to one of the food cafeteria tables and eat and do your work there. People usually function really, really well over there. Excuse me, sorry, my fingers cracking. But yeah, people usually do pretty well over there. Those are other places where you guys can also do your work instead of going to your dorm where all the parties might be sometimes. Although it's up to you if you want to go to those parties, or if you want to do this or you want to do that. But of course, that is something that I feel most people should experience if you feel you want to experience it, because that's part of college. But at the same time, be careful with different parties that you go to, different things you go to, and go to events that I feel will help you in the long run, you know. More studious type events or parties or such would be more beneficial in my personal opinion. But then again, people always, you know, want to go to the fraternities or the sororities or all that jazz. So it's really up to you. But like I said, I'm just saying in general. But yeah, that's one of the other places that you can definitely go. I tend to sometimes hang out with some friends, and we do a lot of homework, and we, you know, take time to relax. And, you know, it's like a good break time / homework time, because at least we don't have to go to the library, and then all of a sudden, the librarian tells us you can't eat here. You're talking too loud here in the library. That's another place you guys can also do your work, which tends to happen and work for most people. But yeah, you know, the library. But then you can't eat there, you can't do this there, you can't do that there. So it kind of sucks in a way. So that's the reason why some people, they tend to go to those lounges, or they tend to go to some of those seating areas, because it's a better place. They can eat, they can talk with friends, they can hang out a little bit, they can also at the same time study. And they don't need to, you know, be quieted down by the librarian. That they're going to, you know, that they're going to a place where they're talking too loud, you know, stuff like that. Because there is going to be a lot of times that, as much as you think that studying does not make you hungry, studying does make you hungry. Studying, learning, understanding things, and, you know, just like exercising, just like doing other things, makes you hungry. And there's going to be those times you're going to need that food in order to concentrate, because studying uses a lot of energy, which according to my class, my bio class, is ATP. You're using ATP to move your muscles and type. You're using your ATP to eat, to speak, to move, to run, to think, like I said already a moment ago. So you're using that type of energy in order to move. Now, you guys are probably thinking, what the heck is Alfonso talking about? But that's just some stuff that I, of course, have learned in my own class. If you've taken bio classes before or certain science classes, then you'll understand that concept. If you want me to explain it to you, though, I don't mind sending you a message on the comments or in private, on the private messages, about that. And at least to what I've learned from it. Anyways, so that is the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about today. I mean, there's more that I wanted to talk about, but right now I'm actually still pretty tired. I've been pretty busy, but at least I'm getting back into it. Now, I know I've already said this before, but please, you guys, try and watch some of the YouTubers or YouNowers that I recommend, or people that I recommend, check out the videos that I put on the side over here. Each one shows different videos that you can get interested in, and in a lot of ways it also helps you to get caught up with some of the videos you have not seen. There's some old videos that some people have not really looked at yet that are really, really cool, and some of them are live streams, some of them are actual, cool on videos that I've made. And it's really nice just to see what your guys' opinion might be, depending on what the topic is about or what we were talking about during that time. Please definitely check them out. I've also made some playlists. If you go to the playlists on my channel, and it shows my newest playlists I made for the college series, the do's and don'ts, and the poetry series that I've finally started to, bring out for you guys to see. If there's any poems that you guys have made that you want me to read and for you to interpret the way I would read it, or if you want to maybe make your own video and, tag me to it, that would be awesome also, just to see what your poems might be about. But that's up to you. Other than that, the last thing that I want to talk about before I end this video is that I'm still hoping to get some people's advice as to if they would like to see the cooking videos. The videos of different foods and different things that you can make as a college student when you don't have a lot of time, and also just to show you how it's made, how it's done, instead of me just explaining it to you and you thinking, that looks yummy, without actually seeing what it looks like. That would be something that I would recommend for people to look at. Now, here's a good thing, in fact, speaking of food. Excuse me, my throat. Sorry, my nose also. That must have been gross. I'm so sorry, y'all. But yeah, one of the best foods that I feel like a lot of Asian countries do, especially Japan, is called these little fried eggs. They're fried eggs with a little bit of sugar and sometimes butter, and then they're cooked, and then they're put in with a little bit of crab or some type of meat in it, and then rolled up together, kind of like a little pouch. You've probably seen them in a lot of animes. Those are really yummy, and those are very healthy. Sorry. Like little pouches, and they're really, really yummy. And they're good ways to get a lot of nutrition in a short amount of time when you do not have a lot of time. Although that's a longer process, that's much more time than most people have. Anyways, other than that, please, if you can recommend down below if you guys want me to do that, I don't mind showing what they look like when I have a chance to, which should be hopefully later this weekend. That's coming up. Anyways, this is you140550 signing out, and the videos will get longer again very, very soon. But right now I have to end it. Alright, see you guys later. Ciao. Arrivederci.